with the Kenya Corporation. On this day of 29th of August, the year 2023, the Senate is convening this special sitting with about 4 businesses lined up for transaction or to be considered on the floor of the Senate. And this is pursuant to a Gazette notice that was published by the Speaker of the Senate, Honorable Amason Jeffa Kingi, notifying the senators that this day, this morning, the House will be sitting for this special sitting to consider, among others, the message from His Excellency the President on the nomination of Mr. Andrew Mukite Musangi for appointment as chairperson of the board of the Central Bank of Kenya, as well as a message from the National Assembly on the resolution by the National Assembly establishing the National Dialogue Committee. There is also the message from the National Assembly on the passage by the National Assembly of the Climate Change Amendment Bill 2023, Bill number 42 of 2023, as well as the consideration of the Public Finance Management Amendment Bill 2023, originating from the National Assembly, Bill number 16 of 2023. So that is basically what the notification to the senators on this special sitting entailed, and that is what has been captured in today's order of business. In the order of business for this special sitting is that the Climate Change Amendment Bill, National Assembly, Bill number 42 of 2023, will be tabled for first reading. This will be done by the Senate Majority Leader, Honorable Aaron Cheruiyot. This bill will be read for the first time. Before I take a look at what this bill entails, let me go to the standing order number 33 that entrenches this particular sitting. It's an order that speaks over the special sittings at the Senate, and it indicates that whenever during a session the Senate stands adjourned, whether or not a day has been appointed for the next meeting, the Speaker may, on the request of the Senate Majority Leader or the Senate Minority Leader, and in each case with the support of at least 15 senators, appoint a day for a special sitting of the Senate. Remember, currently the senators are on a 3-week recess that is supposed to end on the 4th of September. They will be resuming on the 5th, but following this particular businesses that are urgent and need urgent consideration by the senators. Therefore, it has prompted the senators to convene this special sitting. And in the standing order, it indicates that on the request of the Senate Majority Leader or the Senate Minority Leader, and in each case with the support of at least 15 senators, will appoint a day for a special sitting of the Senate. So this is the day that the senators, with the House leadership as well as 15 senators, this being the House quorum number that is usually considered, the House is the number that has agreed to appoint today to hold this particular special sitting. Standing Order 33.2 indicates that the Speaker may allow a request under paragraph 1 if the Speaker is satisfied that the business proposed to be transacted relates to the matters specified under Standing Order 74. And this is a definition of a special motion or other urgent and exceptional business as the Speaker may allow. 33 part 3 indicates that the Speaker shall, by notice in the Gazette, notify the senators of the place, date and time appointed for a special sitting of the Senate. And that is exactly what the Gazette notice entailed: the business to be transacted, the time, the place, as well as that particular date. Standing Order 33 Part 4 indicates that despite paragraph 1, where the proposed business to be transacted by the Senate requires the action of the National Assembly, the Speaker shall in writing notify the Speaker of the National Assembly of the date appointed for the special sitting. And 33.5 indicates that whenever the Senate meets for a special sitting, under paragraph 1, the Speaker shall specify the business to be transacted on the day or days appointed by the business so specified shall be the only business before the Senate during the special sitting, following which the Senate shall stand adjourned until the day appointed in the Senate calendar. And as you can see at the entrance of the Senate chambers, the Speaker of the Senate, Honorable Amason Jeffa Kingi, is in the chambers. He will be presiding over this special sitting. Allow me to hand you over to this live broadcast brought to you by PBU in partnership with KBC. Good morning.
Almighty God, we beseech you to behold with abundant favor and blessings us, your servants, whom you've been pleased to call to leadership positions in this republic. We seek guidance to treat and consider all matters that shall come under deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests you've committed to our charge. Amen. Clerk, do we have quorum? Sergeant at Times, kindly ring the quorum bell for 10 minutes.
Well, the Speaker of the Senate, Honorable Amason Kingi, has directed that the quorum bell be rung. Of course, this is pursuant to the House Standing Order number 40, that at the commencement of a sitting of the Senate, if the quorum is not achieved, then a bell will be rung for 10 minutes. This is, of course, to allow the members to be able to make their way into the chambers to enable the House achieve the requisite quorum. According to the Standing Order number 40, is that if there is no quorum present when the chair is taken at the time appointed for sitting of the Senate, the Speaker shall immediately after the prayer order the bell to be rung for 10 minutes. The House requires a minimum number of 15 members to be seated in the chambers for the House business to start. That is nominated Senator Gloria Oroba, if I am not wrong there. She has just walked in. Other members, we will be seeing them. That is the minority leader, Stewart Mazayo there. Of course, we will be seeing Oburu Odinga there walking in, Honorable Oburu Odinga there walking in. So we will be seeing members of the Senate walking into the chambers. Remember, this is a special sitting appointed for this particular day and to start at around 9:30. So the Speaker is already in the chambers, and this is an allowance for the members who may be within the precincts of the chambers and of the Parliament, but yet to get into the chambers to be able to make their way and enable the House achieve a quorum of 15 members for the commencement of the business of the day. This is a special sitting that has around 4 businesses to be transacted. This is according to what was indicated in the Gazette notice that notified members of this special sitting. The members are currently on a 3-week recess, but this day has been appointed to enable them consider the business that was forwarded to them either from the executive or from the National Assembly. The Climate Change Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 42 of 2023, is one of the bills that the members will be considering this morning. It's a bill that is lined up for first reading, and it will be tabled by the Senate Majority Leader, Honorable Aaron Cheruiyot. The object of this bill, which is originating from the National Assembly, is to amend the Climate Change Act 2016 to provide for the regulation of the carbon markets. And this bill indicates that the Climate Change Act 2016 is national legislation intended to enhance response to climate change and provides mechanisms and measures to achieve low carbon climate resilient development, but it indicates that the Act does not provide a legal framework for carbon trading. It is a bill that was passed at the National Assembly, so it is in the Senate as we speak now, and it will be read for the first time on the floor of the Senate this morning. The members of the Senate will again consider the Public Finance Management Amendment Bill originating from the National Assembly, Bill number 16 of 2023. Again, it will be tabled by the Senate Majority Leader. This bill is at its second stage, and a debate on this bill already kicked off on the floor of the House. And this morning's debate on this bill will be a resumption of a similar debate that was interrupted on Tuesday, 8th August 2023. Members will be going into division on this particular bill, and then the bill is also lined up to be considered at the Committee of the Whole stage by the senators. We have just seen there the Majority Leader and Minority Leader walking out of the chambers. We believe that they are out to mobilize the members to be able to get into the chambers. Remember, the sitting was scheduled to start at 9:30 and currently is a 10-minute quorum bell that gives room for the members who are yet to walk into the chambers to be able to get into the chambers. And this is a special sitting that was purposely or solely convened to enable the House consider a number of businesses. So definitely we'll be expecting the members to be working. That is the Deputy Speaker of the Senate, of course, accompanied by other members, Nyeri Senator, Kitui Senator, also walking in. So in a short time, once the quorum of 15 members is achieved, the Sergeant at Arms will alert the Speaker that the quorum has been achieved, and the Speaker will call the House to order for the business of the day to start. Members of the Senate will also be considering a motion. This is a motion that is moved by the Senate Majority Leader as well as the Senate Minority Leader, and this motion is on the establishment of the National Dialogue Committee that was already passed at the National Assembly. But of course, for it to be within the Constitution, then it also needs to be considered at the Senate. So that is part of the business that the senators will be considering. Remember, this dialogue committee, National Dialogue Committee, brings on board two parties, or rather two sides. One is from the government side, and the other one is from the opposition side. This is, of course, to consider a number of businesses or a number of issues that have been highlighted all along in this journey of seeking for consensus on a number of issues that are affecting the country. So the National Dialogue Committee is already in place and has already been passed by the National Assembly. So members will be looking at taking a close look on what exactly this committee will be tasked to do, its mandate and various issues, and of course consider it with a view of approving it so that to enable the business planned for it to continue. Allow me to hand you over. We can see the speaker talking. Have a good morning.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Senator, kindly have your seat. Now, honorable senators, I welcome you to this special sitting of the Senate. I regret to interrupt your recess, but this has been necessitated by urgent legislative business which requires to be dispensed with. On the request of the Senate Majority Leader, via letters reference number Senator/MLS/06/S.S/Co, dated 24th August 2023, and with the support of the requisite number of senators, I appointed today, Tuesday 29th August 2023, as a day for a special sitting of the Senate. The appointment was made via Gazette Notice number 11081, dated 24th August 2023. In the Gazette Notice, I indicated that the business to be transacted at this special sitting shall be as follows. 1. Receipt of messages, including message from His Excellency the President on the nomination of Mr. Andrew Mukite Musangi for appointment to the position of Chairperson of the Board of Directors of the Central Bank of Kenya. And 2, message from the National Assembly on the passage by the National Assembly of a resolution for establishment of the National Dialogue Committee. And 3rd, the message from the National Assembly on the passage by the National Assembly of the Climate Change Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bills number 42 of 2023. Consideration of the Climate Change Amendment Bill, National Bills number 42 of 2023. 3. Consideration of the Public Finance Management Amendment Bills, National Bills number 16 of 2023. And finally, the consideration of the motion on the establishment of the National Dialogue Committee. Honorable Senators, in accordance with the Standing Order 33.5, the business specified in the Gazette Notice referred to above and as outlined in the order paper shall be the only business before the Senate during the special sitting, following which the Senate shall stand adjourned until Tuesday, 5th September 2023 at 2:30 p.m. in accordance with the Senate calendar. I thank you. Next order, clerk.
Order number 3, messages.
Honorable Senators, I wish to report to the Senate that pursuant Senator Lominen I wish to report to the Senate that pursuant to Standing Order 47, I received a message from His Excellency, the Honorable William Ruto, PhD, CGH, President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of the Kenya Defense Forces, on nomination for appointment of Mr. Andrew Mukite Musangi to the position of Chairperson of the Board of Directors of the Central Bank of Kenya. The message was transmitted to the Senate via the letter reference OP/SENS CAB.26/4A Volume 2/38, dated 3rd August 2023 by the Chief of Staff and Head of Public Service, Mr. Felix K. Kosgei. While the Senate was on recess and transmitted to honorable senators pursuant to Standing Order 47-2 of the Senate. I shall now report the message to the Senate. You are most graciously notified that His Excellency Honorable William Samoei Ruto, PhD, CGH, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Kenya Defense Forces, has, on the recommendation of the Public Service Commission, nominated a candidate for appointment as the chairperson of the Board of Directors of the Central Bank of Kenya. It is noted that Section 11(2)(a) of the Central Bank of Kenya Act, Cap 491 of the laws of Kenya, sets out the process of appointment of the chairperson of the Central Bank of Kenya, and it reads thus: the chairperson shall be appointed by the President through a transparent and competitive process and with the approval of Parliament, and shall hold office for a term of 4 years, but shall be eligible for reappointment for one further term. In that regard, and in accordance with the procedure set out in Section 3 and 5 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act number 33 of 2011, as read together with Sections 11(2) and 11(2)(a) of the Central Bank of Kenya Act, we submit to both Houses of Parliament the presidential nomination of Mr. Andrew Mukita Musangi for appointment as the chairperson of the Central Bank of Kenya. To aid Parliament in its consideration and approval processes, we have the pleasure to forward herewith the Certificate of Presidential Nomination number 15 of 2023, together with the nominees' curriculum vitae and testimonials, and the report of the Public Service Commission on the recruitment of the nominee. Honorable Senators, Section 3 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act states that an appointment under the Constitution or any other law for which the approval of Parliament is required shall not be made unless the appointment is approved or deemed to have been approved by Parliament in accordance with this Act. Standing Order number 47-1 of the Senate Standing Orders provides that upon receipt of a notification of nomination for appointment to a public office required to be approved by the Senate under the Constitution or any other legislation, the nomination shall stand committed to the relevant standing committee for consideration. Honorable Senators, as we agreed and executed during previous approvals for nominations such as the person of the Governor of Central Bank of Kenya, the message from His Excellency the President, together with the curriculum vitae of the nominee, stands committed to the relevant committee, in this case, the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget, for approval hearing. The committee will hold the approval hearing jointly with the Departmental Committee on Finance, Planning and Trade of the National Assembly, in accordance with the provision of Central Bank of Kenya Act and the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act and the Standing Orders of the Houses of Parliament. Section 8 of the same Act provides as follows: unless otherwise provided in any law, a committee shall consider a nomination and table its report in the relevant House for debate and decision within 14 days from the date of which the notification of nomination was given in accordance with Section 5. At the conclusion of an approval hearing, the committee shall prepare its report to the suitability of the candidate to be appointed to the office to which the candidate has been nominated, and shall include in the report such recommendations as the committee may consider necessary. In this regard, therefore, the period on the matter that is now before Parliament starts running upon the Speakers of the Houses of Parliament committing the name of the nominee to the relevant committees in the Senate and in the National Assembly. Standing Order 230, joint sittings of corresponding committees of the Senate and National Assembly shall apply during the approval hearing. I urge the committees to expeditiously consider this matter and to table a report thereon within the stipulated timelines. I thank you. Honourable Senators, you may walk in, please. Kindly have your seat, Honorable Senators, so we proceed. I have two more messages to pass. Honorable Senators, I wish to report to the Senate that pursuant to Standing Order 46.3 and 5, I received the following message while the Senate was on recess from the Speaker of the National Assembly regarding the passage of the Climate Change Amendment Bill, National Bills number 42 of 2023. The message, which is dated Thursday, 24th August 2023, was received on Friday, 25th August 2023 in the office of the Clerk of the Senate. Pursuant to the said standing order, I now report the message. Pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 41.1 and 142 of the National Assembly Standing Orders, I hereby convey the following message from the National Assembly. Whereas the Climate Change Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 42 of 2023 was published via Kenya Gazette Supplement number 127 of July 19, 2023 as a bill seeking to amend the Climate Change Act 2016 to provide for the regulation of carbon markets in order to enhance response to climate change and provide mechanisms and measures to achieve low carbon climate resilient development. And whereas the Climate Change Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 42 of 2023 was passed by the National Assembly on Wednesday, 23rd August 2023 with amendments and in the form attached herewith. Now therefore, in accordance with the provisions of Article 110 of the Constitution and Standing Orders 41.1 and 142 of the National Assembly Standing Orders, I hereby convey the said decision of the National Assembly to the Senate. Honorable Senators, pursuant to the Standing Order 163, a bill originating the National Assembly is required to be proceeded with in the manner as a bill introduced in the Senate by way of first reading. In accordance with Standing Order 144, I now direct at the appropriate time during this sitting, the said bill be read first time. I thank you. Honorable Senators, I also have another message that I wish to pass to you. I wish to report to the Senate that pursuant to Standing Order 46.3 and 5, I received a message from the Speaker of the National Assembly while the Senate was on recess regarding the establishment of the National Dialogue Committee to facilitate dialogue and consensus building and to recommend appropriate constitutional, legal and policy reforms on issues of concern to the people of Kenya. Pursuant to this said standing order, I now read and now report the message as follows. Pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 41.1 of the National Assembly Standing Orders, I hereby convey the following message from the National Assembly. Whereas on Tuesday, 15th August 2023, the leader of Majority Party and the leader of the Minority Party jointly co-sponsored a motion on the establishment of a National Dialogue Committee comprising of members and a technical team drawn from both the Kenya Kwanza Alliance, here known as Kenya Kwanza, a coalition constituting the majority part of the Parliament of the Republic of Kenya, and Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party, herein Azimio, a coalition forming the minority party of the Parliament of the Republic of Kenya. And whereas the mandate of the National Dialogue Committee shall facilitate dialogue and consensus building and recommend appropriate constitutional, legal and policy reforms on issues of concern to the people of Kenya, to be framed by the committee in line with the Constitution and the laws of the Republic of Kenya and respecting the functional and institutional integrity of state organs. Further, whereas on Wednesday, 16th August 2023, the National Assembly considered and passed the said resolution on the establishment of the National Dialogue Committee in the form attached hereto. Now, therefore, in accordance with the provisions of Standing Order 41.1 of the National Assembly Standing Orders, I hereby convey the said decision of the National Assembly to the Senate for consideration. Now, Honorable Senators, appreciating the importance of this matter, I directed that a notice of motion and motion to be scheduled in the order paper for this special sitting for consideration and adoption. I thank you. Finally, I would like to acknowledge the presence in the Speaker's Gallery this morning a visiting delegation of Sergeant-at-Arms from Turkana County Assembly who are in the Senate for a benchmarking visit. Honorable Senators, I request the delegation to stand so that they may be acknowledged according to the Senate tradition. The delegation comprises of the following officers: Mr. James Sirite, Ms. Esther Akisi, Mr. Nicholas Ekai, Mr. Justus Ajore, Mr. Matthew Loperon, Mr. Leonard Lokomoro, Mr. Charles Lomoko, Mr. John Napas, Mr. Nicholas Nakapon, Mr. Wilson Lokeris, Mr. Paul Ekipor, Mr. Dalmas Lochodo, Ms. Beatrice Aule, Mr. Andrew Abong, Ms. Celestine Akal, Ms. Sarah Akal, Ms. Esther Akal, Ms. Jen Nyanga, and Ms. Lucy Loyele. Honorable Senators, on behalf of the Senate, on my own behalf, I extend a warm welcome and wish them a fruitful visit. I will allow the Senator for Turkana, the Honorable Lomenen, under 1 minute to welcome the delegation from Turkana County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this golden opportunity. I take this opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to welcome Sergeant-at-Arms from the county of Turkana. I don't call them Sergeant-at-Arms, Mr. Speaker, for now. I call them my employers. I am here because of their efforts, and I want to congratulate them for visiting the Senate to learn and replicate best practices from this Senate. Mr. Speaker, I assure them this is a wonderful house, and we have great Sergeant-at-Arms who will train them and learn more from them. Mr. Speaker, and thank you so much, and I thank them for traveling so far, the farthest corner of this nation, and when they go back, I thank God, and I will provide, I pray God to provide them with journey mercies. And after this, Mr. Speaker, because you have given me 1 hour, 1 minute, I will see them there after. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Next order, clerk.
Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers. Order number 6, notices of motion.
The Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion at the establishment of the National Dialogue Committee. Aware that Article 11 of the Constitution provides that all sovereign power belongs to the people of Kenya and shall be exercised only in accordance with the Constitution. Further aware that Article 1(2) of the Constitution provides that the people of Kenya may exercise their sovereign powers either directly or through their democratically elected representatives. Conscious that Article 10 of the Constitution espouses the national values and principles of governance, which include the rule of law, democracy, and participation of the people. Further conscious that Article 94 of the Constitution provides that Parliament manifests the diversity of the nation, representing the will of the people and exercises their sovereignty. Recognizing that there is need to embrace consultation, dialogue, and consensus building as a way of resolving issues of concern to the people of Kenya. Cognizant that despite the constitutional and legal reforms on the electoral process and the electoral laws, after every election cycle, there has been mistrust of electoral outcomes, leaving the country divided. Further cognizant that efforts to enhance constitutionalism, the rule of law, and the respect of human rights needs to be promoted, aware that there have been previous calls and attempts at building consensus on issues of concern to the people of Kenya through bipartisan engagement in Parliament, and appreciating the need to establish an inclusive forum for dialogue, the consultation and consensus building in seeking to promote peace, stability and prosperity of the country, acknowledging that the majority party in Parliament and the minority party in Parliament have agreed to embrace dialogue through the establishment of the National Dialogue Committee to recommend a way forward on issues of concern to the people of Kenya. Now, therefore, Mr. Speaker, the Houses of Parliament resolves as follows. 1, that the two Houses of Parliament establish the National Dialogue Committee consisting of 10 members to represent the Kenya Kwanza Alliance, a coalition constituting the majority party of the Parliament of the Republic of Kenya, and Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party, here referred to as Azimio, as a coalition forming the minority party of the Parliament of the Republic of Kenya. 2, that each coalition shall appoint 5 members to the National Dialogue Committee. 3, that the membership of the National Dialogue Committee shall be drawn from Parliament, shall be drawn from Parliament and outside of Parliament. 4, that the National Dialogue Committee shall comprise the following members to represent the Kenya Kwanza. 1, the Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah, Leader of Delegation. 2, Governor Cecily Mbarire, the Deputy Leader of Delegation. Yours truly, Senator Hassan Omar Hassan, and last but not least, Honorable Catherine Wambilianga. 5, that the National Dialogue Committee shall comprise the following members to represent the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition. His Excellency Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka as a delegation leader. 2, the Honorable Opiyo Wandayi as a deputy delegation leader. 3, the Honorable Amina Mnyanzi. 4, the Honorable Eugene Wamalwa. 5, the Honorable Senator Okongo Omogeni. 6, that the mandate of the National Dialogue Committee shall be to facilitate dialogue and consensus building and recommend appropriate constitutional, legal and policy reforms on issues of concern to the people of Kenya, to be framed constitutional, legal and policy reforms on issues of concern to the people of Kenya to be framed by the National Dialogue Committee in line with the Constitution and the laws of the Republic of Kenya, and respecting the functional institutional integrity of state organs. 7, the Houses of Parliament notes that the technical committees representing the Kenya Kwanza and Azimio shall support the National Dialogue Committee. 8, that the technical team representing the Kenya Kwanza shall comprise the following persons. 1, Dr. Muthomi Thiankolu. 2, Dr. Linda Musumba. 3, Dr. Duncan Ojwang. 4, Nick Biketi. 9, that the technical team representing Azimio shall comprise the following persons. 1, the Honorable Jeremiah Kioni. 2, Professor Adam Zolo. 3, Abubakar Zain Abubakar. And 4, Lynn Ngugi. 10, that further the National Dialogue Committee shall be assisted by 2 officers designated as Communication Secretariat, one of whom shall be appointed by the Leader of Majority Party and the other by the Leader of the Minority Party. 11, the Houses of Parliament further resolves that the National Dialogue Committee shall formulate and adopt a framework agreement to guide the bipartisan talks. 12, that the National Dialogue Committee shall report to the leadership of Kenya Kwanza and Azimio coalitions within 60 days, and after that submit its report to Parliament. 13, that in execution of its mandate, the National Dialogue Committee may invite, engage with and consider submissions from stakeholders, collect views from the public, and engage experts, professionals and other technical resource persons as necessary. 14, that the National Dialogue Committee shall determine its own rules of procedure. 15, that the speakers and clerks of both Houses of Parliament shall provide Secretariat and any other necessary support to facilitate the work of the National Dialogue Committee. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Next order, Clerk.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
Honorable Senators, kindly take your seats. I've got a communication to make. Before we proceed to the next order, allow me to make the following communication. I would like to acknowledge the presence in the public gallery this morning, a visiting delegation from St. Bridget Academy, Elgeyo Marakwet County. The delegation consists of 56 pupils and 10 teachers. On behalf of the Senate and on my own behalf, I welcome the delegation and wish them a fruitful visit. I will allow Senator Kisang under 1 minute to say a word of welcome.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, on behalf of Senate, I wish to take this opportunity to welcome St. Bridget's Academy from KS South, Elgeyo Marakwet County, to the Senate. This is one of our schools that does very well. Last year, the mean grade at KCB was 392. So I want to say welcome to Senate. Congratulations. Enjoy yourself when you are here. You listen to what we are discussing. I believe some of you in the future will be in this house, others in National Assembly, others becoming governors and even president. Thank you. Karibu to Senate. I'll see you shortly outside there when you're out.
Next order, clerk.
Order number 8, the Climate Change Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bills number 42 of 2023, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Climate Change Act 2016 and for connected purposes.
Next order. Now, Honorable Senators, pursuant to Standing Order 45, to allow me to rearrange the sequence of today's order paper, we will proceed with order number number 11. Thereafter, we will come back to those two orders, that is number 9 and 10. Clerk, proceed to call that order, please.
Order number 11, motion, establishment of the National Dialogue Committee.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move the following motion. The establishment of the National Dialogue Committee. Mr. Speaker, aware that Article 1 of the Constitution of Kenya provides that all sovereign powers belong to the people of Kenya and shall be exercised only in accordance with the Constitution. Further aware that Article 1(2) of the Constitution provides that the people of Kenya may exercise their sovereign power either directly or through their democratically elected representatives. Conscious that Article 10 of the Constitution espouses the national values and principles of governance, which include the rule of law, democracy, and participation of the people. Further conscious that Article 94 of the Constitution provides that Parliament manifests the diversity of the nation, represents the will of the people, and exercises their sovereignty. Recognizing that there is need to embrace consultation, dialogue, and consensus building as a way of resolving issues of concern to the people of Kenya. cognizant that despite the constitutional and legal reforms on the electoral process and the electoral laws after every election cycle, there has been mistrust of electoral outcomes, leaving the country divided. Further cognizant that efforts to enhance constitutionalism, the rule of law, and respect for human rights need to be promoted. Aware that there have been previous calls and attempts to build consensus on issues of concern to the people of Kenya through bipartisan engagements in Parliament, appreciating the need to establish an inclusive forum for dialogue, consultation, and consensus building in seeking to promote peace, stability, and prosperity of the country, acknowledging that the majority party in Parliament and the minority party in Parliament have agreed to embrace dialogue through the establishment of a national dialogue committee to recommend a way forward on issues of concern to the people of Kenya. Now, therefore, the Houses of Parliament resolved as follows. 1, that the two Houses of Parliament establish a national dialogue committee consisting of 10 members to represent Kenya Kwanza Alliance, referred to as Kenya Kwanza, a coalition constituting the majority party of the Parliament of the Republic of Kenya and Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party, a coalition forming the minority party of the Parliament of the Republic of Kenya. 2, that each coalition shall appoint 5 members to the National Dialogue Committee. 3, that the membership of the National Dialogue Committee shall be drawn from Parliament and outside of Parliament. 4, that the National Dialogue Committee shall comprise the following members to represent Kenya Kwanza. 1, the Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah. 2, Governor Cecil Mbarire as a deputy delegation leader. 3, Senator Aaron Cheruiyot. 4, Senator Hassan Omar Hassan. 5, the Honorable Catherine Wambilianga. That the National Dialogue Committee shall comprise the following members to represent Azimio. 1, His Excellency Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka as a delegation leader. 2, Honorable Opiyo Wandayi as a deputy delegation leader. 3, the Honorable Amina Mnyazi. 4, Honorable Eugene Wamalwa. 5, the Honorable Senator Okongo Mogeni. 6, that the mandate of the National Dialogue Committee shall be to facilitate dialogue and consensus building and recommend appropriate constitutional, legal, and policy reforms on issues of concern to the people of Kenya to be framed by the National Dialogue Committee in line with the Constitution and the laws of the Republic of Kenya and respecting the functional and institutional integrity of state organs. The Houses of Parliament notes 7, that the technical teams representing Kenya Kwanza and Azimio shall support the National Dialogue Committee. 8, that the technical team representing Kenya Kwanza shall comprise the following persons. 1, Dr. Muthomi Thiankolu. 2, Dr. Linda Musumba. 3, Dr. Duncan Ojwang. 4, Nick Biketi. 9, that the technical committee representing Azimio shall comprise the following persons. 1, the Honorable Jeremiah Kioni. 2, Professor Adam Zolo. 3, Abubakar Zain Abubakar. And 4, Lynn Ngugi. 10, that further the National Dialogue Committee shall be assisted by 2 officers designated as communication secretariats, one of whom shall be appointed by the leader of majority and the other by the leader of the minority party. 11, that the National Dialogue Committee shall formulate and adopt a framework agreement to guide the bipartisan talks. 12, the National Dialogue Committee shall report to the leadership of the Kenya Kwanza and Azimio coalition within 60 days, and after that submit its report to Parliament. 13, that in execution of its mandate, the National Dialogue Committee may invite and engage with and consider submissions from stakeholders, collect views from the public, and engage experts, professionals, and other technical resource persons as necessary. 14, that the National Dialogue Committee shall determine its own rules of procedure. 15, that the speakers and the clerks of both Houses of Parliament shall provide the Secretariat and any other necessary support to facilitate the work of the National Dialogue Committee. Mr. Speaker, sir, as you might be aware, our colleagues in the National Assembly passed this motion last week. As a House, Mr. Speaker, we ought to have passed it immediately soon after so that we can begin our operations at the National Dialogue Committee. But we are all aware, Mr. Speaker, that as a House we were on recess, but we felt that given the urgency and the importance that this committee, the sacred nature of the assignment that is before them, it will be unfair to us as a House, Mr. Speaker, if we carried on with our recess and wait until mid of September to come and pass this motion. Then we will continue to carry on the long, wrongly held belief, Mr. Speaker, that Senate is a second thought. The Senate of the Republic of Kenya, Mr. Speaker, is not a second thought. The people of Kenya bequeathed unto themselves this House and believe that it carries equal, if not even far more important powers, Mr. Speaker, than that of the National Assembly, especially on matters that are of great national importance, such as the one that is before us. It is in light of this, Mr. Speaker, that I sought the concurrence of our colleagues, including the leadership of the minority side, and we signed on to have this special sitting and consider this particular matter alongside other urgent business that is before us today, Mr. Speaker. But of most importance, Mr. Speaker, is that we get to sit down and seek the endorsement of our colleagues from Parliament. Mr. Speaker, you have heard me read from Article 1(2) of our Constitution, Mr. Speaker, that Parliament represents the diversity of our people. That when we gather here, Mr. Speaker, it is a gathering of all the 45 million Kenyans plus, Mr. Speaker. That because it was not possible to have all of us as the people of Kenya gather in one place at one particular time and location, therefore Kenyans elect their representatives. And on many occasions, they speak either directly as a people or indirectly through their representatives, through the donated power that these members in this House carry. Mr. Speaker, we are seeking the blessings of the people of Kenya to sit at a table and reason together, Mr. Speaker. This is in follow, Mr. Speaker, for those of us that profess a Christian faith. We are urged many times in the Bible that even our good Lord reminds us that when there are challenges, it's good to come, sit down and reason together. It's on that basis, Mr. Speaker, that we have had this opportunity to sit down and listen to one another. It doesn't mean, Mr. Speaker, that for all the things that are on the table, we shall eventually agree. But at least there's nothing better, Mr. Speaker, than giving an ear to the person that holds a contrary view to whatever positions that you hold, Mr. Speaker. That is how great democracies are built, Mr. Speaker, by learning the art and the discipline of listening to one another, even when you don't agree, Mr. Speaker. Because, Mr. Speaker, the nations that have gone to war is because people